Students of the semester, good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. I want to, if you're a ninth grader and I haven't met you, I know at assemblies you might see us up in front, but I'm Andrea Rusk and the principal of Brainerd High School along with Mr. Cottsmith and Mr. Merseth. We're here to celebrate you for our Student of the Semester program. And the program, if this is your first time earning this honor, the program has a long history here at Brainerd High School, and it is one of my favorite programs of the year. We do it twice a year for each semester, and we allow our teachers to select typically one or two students during their first semester that they're going to honor, and you can be honored for many different reasons. You might be honored for your academic work, like an outstanding grade that you earned first semester, but you also might be honored today because you work really, really hard, or you're really committed to doing your best in the classroom. Some of our teachers have nominated you because you're really good to others. You're a good person. And in our office aides, our office assistants, our office staff have nominated you because they have a high level of trust with you, and they know that they can give you a job and you can get it done well. So I want to congratulate you on behalf of our administrative team, and we want to thank you for being such great examples of students at Brainerd High School. Before we begin, though, I do want to thank a few people here today. Normally, we would invite parents and grandparents in. And today, thanks to our TV Productions advanced students, they are videotaping, and so and then we're going to be posting it on our Brainerd High School Facebook page, and you will be featured there, so mom and dad, grandpa and grandma, and other maybe family can tune in and see you be honored today. But if you would, please join me in thanking our TV Productions crew here today. Thanks. Also, many of you know I have a loud voice, but in a large group like this, where we're celebrating almost 200 students, thank you to Justin Barnhart. Justin is on our district technology team. Thank you, Justin. Shout out to Justin. Clap for Justin. And also, I ask you, some of you today, I talked with a few of you, and you're like, I don't know who nominated me. Well, some teachers reach out and let you know to be sure to come to the program. Others do not and let it be a mystery. But I do encourage you to take a moment today or tomorrow and thank the person that nominated you for this honor. And also consider thanking your staff. We have an exceptional staff here at Brainerd High School. They work really hard to support you and help you be really successful here, no matter what type of student you are, no matter what activity you're in, no matter what type of interest you have. So I hope that you will take a moment to thank the staff that are here helping to support you. So finally, I'm going to give you an apology because with this many students be honored, I haven't practiced each and every one of your names. So I am going to mispronounce some of your names, and I am sorry. Now, my first name is Andrea, and I grew up being Andrea, and Andrea. So I know what it's like to have your name mispronounced. But for those of you, especially seniors, if I mispronounce your name, please let me know after the program or when you come up here, because we want to get it right, because graduation is only 4 months away, 4 short months. Oh, yeah, you seniors, it's going to go fast. So we're going to get started, and we'll be we're going to be introducing your name. We ask that you come up here and get your certificate. And I always tell this to parents and grandparents that come, that certificate, do not crinkle it up. And I don't want it found on the bottom of your backpack. I want it home and on the refrigerator tonight, okay? And also, if you haven't done this, if you are a freshman or a sophomore or maybe even a senior, when you start job hunting, when you start applying to colleges, when you start looking at scholarships that you may apply to, This is one of those honors that you want to put on your resume, your application. You want to put it on your scholarship application because this is again, an honor for you, and it's a testament to your good work. So I will stop, and we're going to go through your names, and then afterwards we're going to have some treats for you. So we're going to move through here, and we are going to hold our applause until the end, and then we're going to all clap for each other to celebrate you. So I'll name your name, and then I'll tell you the teacher or the staff member who nominated you, and then the class that you're in. So come on up here. Mr. Kotsmith and Mr. Merseth are going to be handing you your certificates. So here we go. Mariah Anderson, nominated by Mr. Olson for English 9. Elsie Anderson, nominated by Mr. Freed for Human Geography. Carlton Anderson, nominated by Ms. Olson for Varsity Band. Jaylee Andreessen, nominated by Mrs. Peabody for work in geometry. Alexis Aspinwall. Alexis was nominated by Ms. Menzel for intermediate algebra. Emma Balsley was nominated by Mr. Freed for her work in world geography. Sean Bauman, nominated by Ms. Ledeen for world history, AP world history. Emma Beach was nominated by Mr. Nelson for her work in agricultural and small animal science. Dawson Beck. Dawson was nominated by Mr. Dwyer, and he is part of our Television Productions 2 team. Drew Belton. Drew was nominated by Ms. Ledeen for world history. Rylan Bender, nominated by Ms. Freeman and Ms. Ashburn for her work as an office assistant. Nicole Benson, nominated by Ms. Lasky for Biology 1. Colby Bernew. Colby nominated by Ms. Owen for his work in health, wellness, and fitness. Emma Bowen. Emma was nominated by Ms. Fussy for her work in strength and conditioning. William Brandt, nominated by Mr. Oss for technical math. Catherine Breitbach. Catherine, nominated by Ms. Smolke as a South Campus office assistant. Nicholas Buffetta. Nicholas was nominated by Senora Weeger for work in Espanol Uno. I think I got, is that right, Spanish people? Oh, gracias. Okay. Ryan Cady, nominated by Mrs. Lang for work in American history. Danielle Karner, nominated by Mr. Nelson for Danielle's work in advanced math topics. Erin Cartwright, nominated by Miss Ingram for her work in chemistry. Edith Chamberlain, nominated by Mr. Deebs Borash for work in AP Human Geography. Hunter Chalk, nominated by Mrs. Toddick for intermediate algebra. Shyla Christensen. Shyla was nominated by Ms. Andrist for work seminar. Bailey Clausen, nominated by Mrs. Peabody for her work, thank you, Bailey, in intermediate algebra. Ann Cook. Ann was nominated by Senora Weeger for Spanish 1. Tabitha Kramer, nominated by Ms. Heidi Anderson for work in interior design. Haley Cronquist, nominated by Ms. Rosenquist-Zemke for work in physical science. Is it Hala or Hala Hala? Hala Davis, nominated by Ms. Anderson for work in English 10. Twyla Day, nominated by Ms. Freeman and Ms. Ashburn as a student services aide. Gracelyn Dickinson. Gracelyn was nominated by Senora Main for Spanish 1. Madison Dombobi. Madison was nominated by Ms. Andrist for her work in work seminar. Corbin Dominguez. Corbin was nominated by Michelle, Debbie, and Shelley in the main office as an office assistant. Hannah Dreetz. Hannah was nominated by Mrs. Schulte for English 9. Joshua Eberts, nominated by Ms. Klakatsky for Biology 1. Ariana Ellsbury, nominated by Mrs. Worm for Animal Science 1. Robert Erickson, nominated by Ms. Carlson for American Government. Mariah Erickson, nominated by Michelle, Debbie, and Shelley in the main office as an assistant. Sophia Evans, nominated by Ms. Strelo for work in Power Hour. Agnes Feifa. You say it nice and loud. Great. Okay, good job. She was nominated by Mrs. Lang for American History. Carmen Fierabend. Carmen was nominated by Ms. Smolke as a South Campus office assistant. Braxton Fish. Braxton was nominated by Ms. Marcello for Intermediate Algebra RTI. Alyssa Giza, nominated by Ms. Lively as a Media Center Assistant. Thomas Hadala. Thomas was nominated by Mr. Nelson for Geometry. Jenna Hagman. Jenna was nominated by Michelle, Debbie, and Shelley for Main Office Assistant. Isabel Hagelin. Isabel was nominated by Mr. Rizek for Human Biology. Ethan Hansen, nominated by Mr. Boardwell for Computer-Aided Drafting 1, CAD 1. Austin Harbaugh, nominated by Senora Main for CIS, Spanish Trace. Thank you. You're doing a good job in Spanish 3. Maria Harris, nominated by Ms. Marcello for Intermediate Algebra. Liliana Harding, nominated by Joy, Jenny, and Mary Lou as a Student Success Center Office Assistants. Cadence Hartweg. Cadence was nominated by Mr. Grant for Physical Science. Hannah Hayes, nominated by Mr. Grant for Physical Science. Lindsay Heichman. Lindsay was nominated by Mr. Bjorkland. Catherine Henke. Kate is not here, but Kate was nominated by Mrs. Lang for American History. Addison Hillman. Addison was nominated by Ms. Lasky for Biology 1. Alec Hines. Hins, yes, I know that. Alec, you were nominated by Mrs. Neisted for Culinary Arts. Cody Hoheisel, nominated by Ms. Fundine for Cody's work in English. Aaron Host. Aaron was nominated by Mr. Hewitt for AP Language and Composition. Haley Haruza by Mr. McDuffie for Pre-Algebra. Jordan Honeycutt. Jordan was nominated for work in Varsity Band by Ms. Olson. Zane Jacoby. Zane was nominated by Ms. Zemke for work in Biology. Danny Johnson, nominated by Mrs. Deedy. Elizabeth Jock. Elizabeth was nominated by Ms. Kopp for Chamber Orchestra. Alexa Justin. Alexa was nominated by Mrs. Neisted for Foods. Rebecca Karpinski, nominated by Mrs. Borden. Jada Klakatsky was nominated by Mr. Deebs Borash for AP Human Geography. Caden Clefman. Caden was nominated by Ms. Klakatsky for Biology. Devin Knopf. Devin was nominated by Ms. Vandeputty for Pre-AP English 10. Jordan Coring. Jordan was nominated by Ms. Bastian for work in American government. Hannah Kunkel. Mrs. Coleman nominated Hannah for her work in Pre-AP English 9. Josie Kramer was nominated by Mrs. Vandeputty for her work in College in the Schools, Introduction to Communication. Lucas Crookton. Lucas was nominated by Mr. Boardwell for his work in Principles of Engineering. Paige Cundy. Paige was nominated by Jenny, Jo, and Mary Lou as a Student Success Center Office Assistant. Erica Lane. Erica was nominated by Ms. Freeman and Ms. Ashburn as a Student Services Assistant. Drew Larson. Ms. Owen nominated Drew for Health, Wellness, and Fitness. Jessica Lawton. Mrs. Leah Anderson from the Visual Arts Department nominated Jessica. Katie Long, nominated by Mrs. Bastian for American History. Cassie Lyons. Cassie was nominated by Mrs. Kaiser for her work in Advanced Algebra. Hayden McLaughlin. Hayden was nominated by Ms. Alm for work in AP U.S. History. Jacob MacLeish. Jacob, is that right? Thank you. Jacob, nominated by Ms. Miller for work in English. Emma Marshawn Larson. Emma was nominated by Mrs. Anderson for her work in creative foods. Sam Matson, nominated by Mr. Ali for work in varsity choir. Megan McConville. Megan was nominated for her work as an office assistant for Jenny, Joy, and Mary Lou. Miles McDermott. Miles was nominated for his work in Mrs. Alm's class for AP U.S. History. Patrick McDonald. Patrick was nominated by Ms. Kraft. Gracie Miles. Gracie was nominated by Jenny, Joy, and Mary Lou as an office assistant. Autumn Miles was nominated by Mr. Fisher for her work in AP English Literature. Kaylee Miles, nominated by Ms. Marcello for intermediate algebra. Easton Miller, nominated by Ms. Johnson for English 9. Falcon Mitchell. Falcon was nominated for his work for Ms. Snook. Nicholas Moore. Nick was nominated for his work for Mr. Peterson in AP European History. Mary Moore, nominated by Ms. Anderson for AP Physics. Mackenzie Myram. Mackenzie was nominated by Ms. Johnson for English 9. Victoria Narlock. Victoria was nominated by Mr. Bourne for her work in Adventure and Challenge. Wyatt Nash, nominated by Mr. Nelson, Introduction to Agriculture. Elizabeth Newman. Elizabeth was nominated by Mr. Askegard for Physical Science. And Nina Nyan. Nina, nominated by Mr. Askegard for Physical Science. Chandler Niemeyer. Chandler was nominated by Mr. Fisher for English 11. Adam Oman. Adam was nominated by Ms. Kraft. Michael Olson. Michael was nominated for his work in English 10 by Mr. Olson. Grace Pappenfuss. Grace was nominated by Ms. Anderson for English 11. Alexis Pardun. Alexis was nominated by Ms. Shepard for Human Geography. Grace Peabody. Grace was nominated by Mr. Dede for Advanced Algebra Intensive. Scott Peterson. Scott, nominated by Mr. Brisk for his work in outdoor power equipment. Reese Bakula. Reese was nominated by Ms. Litzinger for his work in chemistry. William Popham. William was nominated by Mrs. Dede. Cadence Porish. Cadence was nominated by Mr. Dwyer for her work in TV Productions. Lee Primesberger, nominated by Mr. Dede for Computer Science Principles. Maya Primesberger, nominated by Mr. Peterson for AP Psychology. Evanly Rager, nominated by Mrs. Worm for her work in Natural Resources. Caden Ray, nominated by Mrs. Strelo for work in Power Hour. Carly Ray, nominated by Mr. Boren for Adventure and Challenge. Allison Rice, nominated by Senora Qualley for Spanish 2. Allison Rich, Mrs. Rutger nominated Allison for Reading and Language. Noel Robertson, nominated by Mr. Lofstrom for Noel's work in pre-calculus. Maya Roca, Maya was nominated by Mr. Rizek for biology. Lena or Leanna? Lena? Nominated by Rugels, nominated by Mrs. Sanford for English 10. Brea Sawyer, nominated by Ms. Shepard for Human Geography. Noah Schaefer. Noah was nominated by Mr. Geary for Geometry. Allie Schultz, nominated by Mr. Deere for work in pre-calculus. Michaela Schultz, nominated by Mrs. Neisted for her work in child development. Rowan Schwendeman, nominated by Ms. Coleman for his work in English 9. Justin Scott. Justin was nominated by Ms. Wales for his work in the Pays Laboratory. Adrian Siebert. Adrian was nominated by Ms. Wales also for work in the Pays Laboratory. Emily Rose Severson. Emily was nominated by Mr. Stubbs for her work in a cappella choir. Logan Severson. Logan was nominated by Mr. McDuffie for his work in Tech Math 5. Caitlin Shaw, nominated by Mrs. Harmer for her work in AP Biology. Thea Sjogren, nominated by Senora Qualley, Spanish 2. Sheila Marie Simon, nominated by Mr. Wagner for video game design. Peyton Simonette, Ms. Schulte for work in English 9. Sophia Singh, nominated by Ms. Toddick for intermediate algebra. Gabrielle Smith, Gabby, by Ms. Anderson as an English assistant. Brielle Stenglein. Brielle Stenglein, Mr. Lofstrom for pre-calculus. Chad Stevens, Mrs. Fundine for Power Hour. Jake Stockinger. Jake was nominated by Ms. Menzel for his work in Introduction to Engineering and Design. Emma Storbakken, nominated by Mr. Deere for pre-calculus. Kaylee Sweet, nominated by Mrs. Fussy for work in strength and conditioning. Tilla Swenson, nominated by Ms. Smokey for South Campus Office Assistant. Meryl, help me out. How do you pronounce it? Meryl? Tiganoa? Okay, thanks Meryl. For Mrs. Harmer had nominated Meryl for her work in AP Seminar Language and Composition. John Tobin, Miss Anderson for Physics. Dong Tran. Dong was nominated by Mrs. Sanford for her work in creative writing. Rachel Trusty, nominated by Mr. Dede for advanced algebra. Chloe Twombly. Chloe was nominated by Mrs. Leah Anderson for her work as a pottery assistant. John Unger. John was nominated by Ms. Johnson for English 9. Quinn Vilwalk. Quinn was nominated by Mrs. Vandeputty for AP Literature and Composition. Keaton Walwiak. Keaton, Wakowiak?
Yes.
Thank you, Wakowiak. Keaton was nominated by Ms. Shmea. Keaton, I'm very sorry for that. You must have a cheering section over there that knows how to say your name. Mrs. Shmea had nominated you, Keaton, for Foods 9. Jack Wanis, Mr. Brisk, nominated Jack for Welding 2. Sienna Warda, nominated by Jenny Barnhart in our Student Success Center and as a South Campus Office Assistant. Gina Wisniewski. Gina was nominated by Mr. Boren for Strength and Conditioning. Allison Werham, nominated by Mr. Brainerd for Computer Applications. Grace Whipple, nominated by Ms. Nelson for Algebra. Molly Wieland. Molly was nominated by Mr. Ali for Varsity Choir. Christian Wilson, nominated by Mr. Wagner for Video Game Design. Rose Wood. Ms. Miller for English. Hunter Zilka by Mr. White for Sports and Fitness. And Grace Zimmerman. Grace was nominated by Ms. Ingram for her work in AP Chemistry. So at this time, I want you to give yourselves a good round of applause.